the FNL Network talk show.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is James, and welcome to the FNL Network talk show. How are you all doing?
We're doing well.
Doing good.
Doing good. Looking good. Well, today we've got three topics. Our first topic is going to be Putin's war and America's response. Why are they not acting more quickly to help arm and aid the Ukrainian people? Secondly, the second topic is going to be the ending of mask mandates. Did the science change, or did just the politics change? And then the third one is going to be, if you wanted to destroy America, what would you do differently than what is happening right now with this administration? So I think I shall start off. So in 2016, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, and Amy Klobuchar went to Ukraine and told the Ukrainian troops that they would help Ukraine make 2017 a year of offense against the Russians. And this time they wanted to make the Russian people, or the Russian government, pay a heavier price. So why are we not seeing them being armed and helped and assisted? But I was just reading or watching something earlier. This reporter who I had lost touch with because they had borrowed him from all platforms, named George Webb, said that Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has a $35 million mansion in Sunny Isles, Florida, right up the street from me, built by Klominsky and Pumchek, with a $1.3 billion bank account from the Bank of Dresden in bank. So Zelensky receives $12 million a month from Viktor Pumchek. So you have to ask yourself, why is it the people from these Russian oligarchs or these wealthy billionaires are funding so much, putting money into the hands of Zelensky? Why? What are they doing? Is Ukraine nothing more than just a tool for NATO to encroach closer onto Russia? Because supposedly the reason why Putin is so upset, because he said that they are taking the Donbass region and other areas of southeastern Ukraine, and they're positioning weaponry to attack Russia in the future. So is it just a tool for NATO, because NATO is trying to expand their reach in the world? Because you have to admit that we're not without our faults. You know, we have our we have a history of government overthrows. And in 2014, there was a CIA coup in Ukraine that you may or may not be aware of. So they say that George Soros is banking and backing Ukraine, blah, 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 blah. But some of the names who are Akhmikov, remember that phone call that Victor Nuland had with Yachts, Y-A-T-Z, Yachts, where he said, let's flip this thing. And they wanted to install and get Yachts and Zelensky into power. So it's just, this is such a much more complex thing than you and I are aware of. We're not privy to the inside, what's going on, but you know, you can have a very, I guess you could say, deductive process, and you could follow the money, always follow the money, and find out where things are headed and why they're in that way. So they're making out Russia to be the bad guy here. Is Russia the bad guy here? Or is Ukraine the bad guy here? Or are they both bad? Or is the West the bad guy here? What do you guys think? What do you think, Marianne?
Gosh, that's a totally different spin on things. That's insane to think about. All this time, I have thought of Russia as the bad guy. But when you put it that way, it does make you think.
You're breaking up.
I know when we do see, for example, I saw this past week. I'm breaking up.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
So this past week, I've seen some horrific things, horrific images of children in the Ukraine dying. I saw one of this little girl who, she was innocent. She didn't do anything to deserve this, but she was killed, and it showed her dad with her, just, completely inconsolable. When I see things like that and see a lot of the citizens there that did not do anything wrong, that breaks my heart. That's where I'm like, I wish that we could do more to help them.
But don't you think that's exactly what the corporate media is trying to do, to play on your emotions? Because there have been hundreds of thousands of people over the last 10 years who have been murdered by wars, and no one has cared about those people until they have been told to care. Until they are illuminating their cities' skylines and cityscapes with, gold and blue lights saying we support Ukraine. Of course we do, because we're humanitarians. But where has the corporate media been for all these other senseless killings? And also there's a lot of videos that are in social media that are intentionally being placed that are illegitimate, that are not even from Ukraine.
I saw that as well.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I do think, to a degree, yes, a lot of times the news does try to play on our emotions, depending on what the world is wanting or what a certain place is wanting. I think it really depends. I don't believe any news outlet is completely honest.
Yeah.
I think that they, all of them have, their own spin on things, certain ones more than others. But yeah, I do absolutely see what you're talking about, that they can play on our emotions. Anytime a child is killed, it's heartbreaking. But it does appear that they are showing a lot more of this than they have shown other countries. So I do see your point. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not really trying to take any side here because I don't know what side to take. I mean, there are innocents on both sides of the equation.
Right. And
I don't care if they're 95 or 5 years old. If they're innocent, they don't deserve to be killed or die. That being said, there is an objective of narrative from mainstream media and certain factions of society and government and corporations who are trying to push an agenda. Have you ever seen, I mean, don't you think China is looking at how all these banking institutions and everybody has come together, corporations, and cut off the ability? You can't even travel in the metros in Russia now because Apple has cut off the Apple Pay for the thing. They used to just scan their cell phones and be able to get on. So all these corporations and companies and governments and banking institutions have come together to punish Russia instantly, the people of Russia instantly. So to cut off their ability to move about, to perhaps buy food or whatever. So do you think China's not watching this and say, hey, we've got to take the US dollar as the reserve currency and move away quickly, because we don't want this to happen to us, because we're going to invade Taiwan here soon. And when we do, this is what's happening. And so we now have China and Russia, because it's been proven that China was fully aware this was going to take place. And they even told the Kremlin and Putin, please don't invade until after the Olympics. And so it's a strategy that they've been plotting and planning. And China is on the side of the Russian people, and they're helping, or not Russian people, but the Russian government. And they're helping Russia with their advancement to take the land grab, like I said last week, of Ukraine. Anyway, Jeff, what do you think?
I feel like like you said, there's behind the scenes that we don't know of. And that's unfortunate, but my opinion about it is what I see now. I don't, you just brought those facts. I don't know those facts. I only know what I'm seeing. I just see innocent people getting hurt because it's money involved and territory, and innocent lives are being threatened. They've been unctioned out of their homes into different territories. And to me, it's not right. It's like, it's bullying in a higher level. And either way, whoever's doing it, whoever's actually started, whatever the scenario is, that should have been decided between those two. It should not have affected the people but I think it's greed. I think is, in my what I've experienced and what I've seen with Putin, it's no heart there. I'm not saying Russia. I'm just saying the person, because he's killing people. He's killing innocent young people, and he's going in from the news. He's going in and he's actually hitting these civilian sites, and I think he's being very strategic. We don't know the agenda right now, but I feel like there is an agenda. And I feel like I said, innocent people in subways and hiding, and people are going to places. Their whole life have been altered. Either way is wrong. It's wrong. I don't care how you try to find it, whose side it is wrong. People's lives have been altered tremendously because of that.
Well, Russia's agenda is to take the Ukraine.
Yeah, so
what their agenda is, and
it's any means necessary.
But we are seeing that. I mean, a lot of these Russian soldiers who are being captured initially were told that this was just war games. This was not an actual invasion, and they're playing innocent. And these are people who are being captured in all different places within the country. They were not told that this was actually a live war to go in, and so they are they're been given food, and the food supposedly has been expired. They only have 3 days worth of food, and it's a poorly planned war by a poor country who doesn't have the money or the longevity, unless China comes in and subsidizes them financially. I don't see how they're going to continue on with this war.
So even you saying that makes it even worse, because if those young boys are going in there not knowing what the actual agenda is, and then they get in there and then they think it's a war game, it makes that mindset of that person like it's a lie. So their lives are getting in jeopardy as well. So to me, it's just crazy. Like when you see it happening, I thank God it is not happening here. It makes people very fearful of their life. It's just one thing after another. Nothing is in place. What the real reason? We know the real reason, but even his people that he are sending on the front line don't even know the real reason why they're going over to Ukraine and trying to take over their territory. To me, that behooves me to be over there, and you not knowing why you're over there. You just, it's a war game. You can't go in somebody else's territory and think it's a war game. To me, that's just not logic.
Well, let me ask you this question. So we're the West, the United States, and the Western allies are saying that we are going and sending supplies and ammunition and other things to Ukraine to help stabilize and to bolster their defense. Okay. And the UN and the United Nations and NATO. So if they're doing that, what would you think if the United Nations was to say, we need to send in troops and we need to send in armament. We need to send in other types of defense to protect and defend the southern border of the United States? Would you think we're a sovereign nation? You have no right to come into our sovereign land and do anything. That's the same thing that's happening. The United States has a very covert. They have they have mercenaries. They have covert. It's called Gladio, where these are private warriors, so to speak. It's where they go in and they defend or fight, or they are agent provocateurs. They go in where they're hired by NGOs, non-government organizations, to go in and either fight or to cause problems, like the coup in 2014, which they say was a CIA coup, and it's been proven that it was, where they were causing all kinds of conflicts to start a war within the country. So whenever you think you know something, you might want to look again, because chances are you don't know really what's going on. I know I don't.
Yeah, you don't really know.
This is all just, suppositions and speculations on my part. I have no idea. But I read so many things from people that I really admire, and their research and their point of view has come historically to be proven right. So with George Webb's thing I read today, I think, wow, that's a different perspective, but I do believe it's to be true. that, maybe Russia's not the boogeyman here. Maybe Zelensky's is a puppet who has been installed by the United States to be in a position to protect or do whatever Biden and the Biden administration needs him for him to do. So anybody want any closing ideas or thoughts before we go on to topic number 2?
God, I'm just praying for them. Yeah, I'm just praying.
You got anything, Marianne, you want to add to this in closing?
Same as what he said. Just pray.
Okay. All right. So our next topic is going to be.
That's pretty much it.
Go ahead, Erin. Go ahead, honey.
Oh no, I wasn't saying anything.
Well, if you want to make a comment, you don't have to say anything really. If you just anything you want to add.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm ready for topic 2, actually.
Okay. The topic is the ending of the mask mandates. Did science change or did the politics change? And you may have seen the clip from a couple of days ago. I think it was 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday, in Tampa, where Governor Ron DeSantis went to this university, and they were all standing up on the stage. These students were all standing on the stage, and they all had masks on. And he said, come on, take the mask off. Stop it with the mask theater. It's over. We don't need to wear a mask unless you want to keep your mask on. But otherwise, don't feel that you have to wear your mask. And so a lot of people took their mask off, and 2 people kept their mask on. And so now the Charlie Crist, who is trying to run for governor, who was a failed governor his first time around, is trying to say that Governor Ron DeSantis was bullying these students. It's all hyperbole. He's trying to bully these students and trying to force them into take their mask off when they really didn't want to take their mask off. Well, come to find out, they did want to take their mask off, but they were just being made from the administration of the school that it was best to keep their mask on. Not best, but they had to keep their mask on. At any rate, so they're all outraged. But in essence, at the end of the day, what was really being communicated was make your own decision. If you want to keep your mask on, wear a mask, but don't feel like you are forced by anybody to wear a mask. And so I think that is the way it should always be. Yesterday, I took my mother to get this MRI, and all the girls in the reception area at the doctor's office all have their masks below their nose, and some have them below their chin, their mouth. Well, they have this technician who comes into the doctor's office a couple of days or a month or whatever to do patients. Well, mother's fully vaccinated. And so, but when she lays down, she can't wear a mask because it's hard for her to breathe when she lays completely flat on a table. So she said, I'm going to have to lower my mask. And the guy said, who was overweight and had a little ponytail. And he said, no, if you don't put your mask on, I'm not doing the procedure.
What in the world?
Oh, yeah. And so I said, is that the way it's going to be? He said, yeah, that's the way it's going to be. I said, well, then we're going to leave. So we left. And I told them on the way out the door, I said, he is a bad representative for this office. I mean, everybody here at Mother's office is wonderful, from the front desk people to the doctors, everybody. And so she goes, the girl said, I know, like that. And I said, why are you doing business with somebody like that? So anyway, we rescheduled for today, and I was supposed to take her today after this program, but instead they had to double up. So what I'm trying to say is, if masks work, if you believe they work, then shut your mouth and put on your mask and don't tell anybody else what to do. If you don't think they work, then stay home or put 3 masks on. But don't tell me how to live my life. I'm not going to tell you, Marianne, how to live your life, or you, Jeff, how to live yours. Some people need to wear a mask because they have health issues.
Yeah, most
Right.
definitely.
And if they do, then you put on a mask and you put it on and you keep your mouth shut. But don't sit there and be a mask police and telling other people what they need to do. It is not America. So anyway, what do you think about that, Jeff?
I think what you're saying is true. When we initially started, it was good because we didn't know. But we're going 2 years and almost 3 years into this. I don't want to continue wearing a mask. Yeah. I think it's just behooves me that you're forcing us to wear a mask that doesn't really work. The people are still getting COVID. I feel like I was telling a lot of my clients, we have a natural immune system that's supposed to fight off of those things. So why are we not letting our immune system fight off any disease that may come forth so we can become immune to it? That's what it's supposed to do, right? So to me, I just feel like, with the mask being on, we're not fighting off this thing. We take that mask off, and anything that we did not allow to come into the system so that we can fight it off is hitting us really hard. So people are probably getting sicker because it's to me. So that's the thing I see. I think it should be a choice. If you choose to wear it, you choose to wear it because you're sickly or you have underlying issues. But if you're healthy and you feel like, look, my immune system to fight this off, let me keep it moving. Let me go out and run. Whatever you do, your normal day, live your life, because people's faces being hidden, to me, is just crazy. Like, I can't even enjoy life because you're sitting in a place that everybody have a mask on. So you can't really, to me, that's not living life. I don't want to continue breathing through a mask. Even, my heart went out to what you said about your mom. Nobody wants to lay down on their back and the mask is on your face. Like, that's just crazy. Like, let her breathe. Let her breathe. You're all right. Let her breathe. You're going to be all right. And show some love and compassion when it comes to an elderly person that feels like, okay, I can't live my back with this mask on my face.
Well, and all these so-called scientists are saying, follow the science. Well, if you're following the science, does a mask work? If you think it works, then you wear the mask. If you think these mRNA vaccines work and you've been vaccinated, then why don't you shut your mouth and just go on about your day? If they don't work, then tell me they don't work. But don't tell me, oh, once you get this, life can get back to normal. Well, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we've been on this shutdown for how long? Anyway, so Marianne, what are your thoughts?
Whew. I am right there with you both. Right there with you both. It has been 2 years of this, and we're tired.
Yeah.
We are tired. And a lot of schools, they haven't lived a normal life in 2 years. And, I think it should be absolutely a personal choice. Your mask protects you. If that's the way that you think, then wear one. But, being forced or feeling forced, that's not a way to live. I've always felt that way. Now, in the beginning, like you said, Jeff, I did wear a mask. I personally did get vaccinated. I also have decided not to get the booster because of some of the side effects that I got from the vaccine. But as far as people being forced, it doesn't work. It's very oppressive, and it makes people feel like they don't have a choice. And granted, America is still a great country, but I feel like it's just like a dark cloud over things the past 2 years. And I've seen the subject of masks cause a ton of division and so many arguments, when I feel like it should be simple. If you really want to wear a mask, then wear one. If you don't want to wear one, then don't wear one. That's how I feel about it. I feel like it's caused breakups in friendships and, struggles with relationships at work. It's like a trickle down effect, and it's just so much negativity.
Yeah, it's just like the whole thing about teachers and shutting the schools down. If mask works and teachers are fearful that their little students are going to bring something from their home and give it to the teacher, then the teacher needs to keep her mask on and shut her mouth and just teach the students. If little Johnny wants to sit there and not wear a mask because he feels he doesn't need to wear a mask, he shouldn't be required to wear a mask. Because ultimately, who if there is such harm that's going to come his way because of not wearing a mask, who is it going to affect? Johnny. And they say, well, we don't want to overrule or overwhelm our medical systems, our hospitals. Hogwash. They don't care about the people. In fact, when I had the question, or the topic was, what has changed? Has the science changed, or has politics changed? And the answer is politics changed. You didn't see any of this lifting of mandates anywhere on a broad scale until the trucker strike in Canada. When they had that trucker strike going on in Canada, American politicians started shaking their boots, saying, "Oh, we've got to do something quick because it's coming here." I've heard rumors that they're going to do a convoy strike here in the United States. And if they do, we're really going to be in trouble. So they were all, there's a whistleblower who has received an email and a letter from Impact Research, which is an organization that sent out to all the Democrats, politicians, leaders, and the leadership positions. And it said, it was sent out on February the 24th of 2020. And it said, you need to declare the crisis phase of COVID now over and push for feeling of acting more normal. Let it be your decision. Don't let it be the Republicans' decision. Don't let it be the truckers' convoys. Let it be your decision. And they also said, recognize that the people are, quote, worn out and the feeling the real harm from years of long restrictions and you're taking the side of the people. You're now on the people's side. Because before school boards, people were going before the school boards and saying, don't teach that to my child. Don't tell my child he has to wear or she has to wear a mask on her face for 8 hours a day. We don't want that. Now they're saying, oh, we understand. Let it be your choice. We're lifting these mask mandates for you. Well, also right around the corner in November, we have the so they also say, acknowledge that COVID still exists and likely will for a long time. But don't set COVID zero as a victory for conditioning, meaning there has to be 0 cases of COVID for it to be that you're winning. Stop talking about restrictions and the unknown future ahead. Tell them that you want to secure the border. That's another thing. Now they have been completely against securing the border, meaning the Democrats. So this is just something that just came about. Someone had gotten a hold of an advisory committee who works for this organization, which is called, where is the name of the organization? Called Impact Research, IMPACT Research. And so it just goes to show you that it's politics. It always has been. It's how they were able to hijack and to steal, in my opinion, the presidential election of 2020. And now they have got something else to cling on to, which is called the Russian-Ukrainian war. And so that's what's going to dominate the news outlets. And so you don't look over here at what's going on with Joe Biden and all his crimes. Look over here, what's going on a world away. I mean, there are 11 time zones in the country of Russia, which I didn't know. 11 time zones. And so it's 5,000 miles in landmass. And in the United States, we have 3,000 miles. So it's over 1.5 times larger than the United States. And so the country itself has, I think it has the GDP of the state of Texas. So they're not doing very well financially. And they need to try to do this land grab and get more minerals and more resources. But the sovereign nation of the Ukraine, of course, they want to stand up for their rights. So anyway, I do believe that it's just all been politics, this whole mask mandate situation. And I've always gone without a mask because I take a prophylactic ivermectin from day one. As soon as I heard about it and did my research, I started taking 3 milligrams every 3 weeks. So only time I ever wore a mask was if I had to go to Costco or to a medical facility to take my mother or to the grocery store. Other than that, I never wore a mask, and I still don't to this day. So what are your thoughts? Anybody want to add to that?
I'm just going to say I do agree with you, James, that it's the politics that have changed. Now, I think the virus is real, but at the same time, we have to, at some point, get back to normal life. And it seems like now they're trying to put, the media and everybody else is trying to put our focus somewhere else. So it's like, it's always something. There's always some catastrophe to focus on. And, it's ironic, the timing. It's very ironic.
Yep. It's ironic to you, but it's planned to me. This is something that they have planned. They've got something planned after this. What's next? We don't know, but they always have a situation. Like they say, what the Democrats has this big thing where they say never let a good crisis go to waste. Well, if a crisis is an opportunity for them to grab power, there's always going to be a crisis. They're always going to enact some type of crisis, whether it be natural or man-made. And chances most of the time they're man-made crises. So I just think that the American people are the most generous, the most compassionate people on the planet. But there's going to come, and very kind. And there's going to come a time, though, where they're going to say, enough is enough. And watch what's going to happen when that happens. It's not going to be pretty. So they need to be very careful of how much they push and prod and poke the American people, because it's going to come back and backfire on them in a very major way. Right, Jeff?
Yeah. I think they're there now. I think not enough is enough right now. I think people are just tired. Yeah, like you said, and I think it's politics. I think they're the ones that they're changing because of that. But I feel like it's another agenda. I feel like they always, like I said before, I think they try to take our focus off of what really is going on. It's another distraction. And to me, it's just crazy. It's just a whole bunch of distraction.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
But what do you think they're distracting from? I mean, what is it that has been in the news that's been permeating the low ratings, the low approval ratings of the Biden administration, of how feckless and how basically, for the lack of better words, how retarded they are acting when it comes to foreign policy and to domestic policy? This administration is an embarrassment on an international scale. And I mean, we see where the Taliban mock them and other governments mock them. You know that Xi and Putin sit around and they talk about Biden and laugh. I mean, because they want to be the superpower of the world, and at the rate we're going, this is my thought, which is going to sort of segue into our final topic, which is if you wanted to destroy America. I don't know if they really want to destroy America, they meaning the Democrats and the globalists, but they definitely want to suppress and bring down America's standing in the world. And it sort of goes back to this everyone gets a trophy philosophy, where everyone gets a trophy. So if you cannot all be winners, well, then why not all be mediocre? So if these other countries are just okay, well, why don't we bring this country, America, down to their level? And that way we're all going to be on an even playing field. So instead of have a superpower, we'll all be a one world government. We'll all be on the same playing field. And that's what is taking place, I believe, now, where they're trying to bring America's standing and position in the world. They're trying to bring us to a sort of, I don't want to say submissive, but to a more substandard level.
I think submissive.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, I mean, listen,
Submitting.
So if the new radical left, which is driven by the Democratic Party, are they friend or foe of the American people? I mean, my position is, if you wanted to deliberately destroy the United States, what would you do differently than what is currently taking place by the Democrats? I mean, flood the economy with newly minted money and give out thousands upon thousands of dollars to Americans and tell them to stay at home and not work. This is even after, the COVID crisis was over. You shut down production of our own oil resources, forcing our country to buy foreign oil from our admitted enemies like Russia and Iran, which results in higher food prices due to higher costs of getting the goods to market, which dramatically stalls the shipping lanes and causing the supply chain to just come to a standstill in the Pacific off the coast of California. I mean, it's just, if you wanted to destroy America, Biden said that he wanted to bring America back. What he's brought back was the Taliban. What he did was he brought back 13 bodies of servicemen and women to the United States, draped in coffins and with the American flag, that were killed in Afghanistan from a stupid, idiotic exit. I mean, there was no exit plan whatsoever. He just pulled out the military first, which everybody knows. You don't have to be, George Patton to understand the last people you bring out is the military. You get your people out first, you bring out the assets, and then you bring out the military. Then if you wanted to destroy America, would you not just open the southern border and allow criminals from MS-13 to come flowing into this nation and from other nations around the world where we have no idea who they are? And if COVID is such a big thing, why is it that they're not testing for COVID at the border? Why is it they're not telling people that they are flying in and bussing in these people that come across the border in the middle of the night at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to unknown cities and unmarked planes so they can put them into their communities? They're not telling them that. They're not telling the governors of those states that they're doing this. They're not telling the police departments. In the middle of the night, they're flying people in because they want to flood these states that are considered to be red states with illegals who they know automatically are going to support the Democratic Party. I mean, if you wanted to run America, would you do everything you can to stop energy independence? Why do they shut down our oil processing almost immediately on day one? I mean, Joe Biden has done everything. Now you see that in California, it's reaching $7 a gallon for gas in Los Angeles County. I mean, let's see, you stoke the fires of racial hatred of an already divided country by telling everybody that, and supporting Black Lives Matter. Well, fine, Black lives do matter, but Black Lives Matter Incorporated is a Marxist organization that is set and hell-bent on trying to bring down the United States of America. I mean, genuinely good people who are Black do not support, in my opinion, and from people I know, don't support the ideology of Black Lives Matter Incorporated. They're admitted Marxist. So, I mean, look at how they project military weakness and failed leadership in a time of crisis around the world, when there seem to be more emphasis on making uniform for pregnant women in the military than they are about supporting, and they're saying, oh, we don't want to be a toxic male environment for the military. That's exactly what you need in the military. You need strong men who are going to project strength in the military. What do you want? A bunch of people like me in the military? Not that I couldn't do it, but I don't want to do it, So another thing too, if you wanted to run America, would you not establish a federal control of our election systems, which is what they're trying to do? And if you wanted to destroy America, would you not want to keep the lockdowns and the strict mask guidelines in place? Of course you would. And why is it, if you wanted to destroy America, that you would open up our jails and let crime in the streets go unpunished, and they have zero cash bail? You don't have to post a bond or anything. They let you right out. George Soros appointed, allows these people just to be released and not have to pay any crime. And oftentimes they get rearrested in a matter of hours after committing another crime. And sometimes the crimes are murder. I mean, it's not very frequently, but there have been people who have been released, and 2 days later they were back in jail because they murdered someone. And then nationalizing industries. So Bill de Blasio was trying, when he was the mayor of New York City, was trying to state that they needed to have nationalized organizations that would make certain manufacturers certain products or things, so people would have to be solely reliant on an organization or a production company that was based in a nationalist company that the United States was supporting. I mean, what's another thing? Universal government health care. It's another thing. Oh, another thing. If you want to run America, you would ban all firearms in the country, would you not? If you wanted to ban America. If you wanted to harm America, rather, you would empty the prisons and say it was because of COVID. You were fearful that the prisoners were going to get COVID, so you would release them. Remember when they did that about a year and a half ago, they were releasing hardened criminals into into the communities and saying, oh, well, they have on ankle monitors. Do you think if you're in jail because you have a double homicide or you've terrorized a family and an ankle monitor is going to keep you on the straight and narrow? Of course not. You're just going to cut it off and go about your business and cause crime. Anyway, so I do believe that all these policies are intentional and they are trying to bring detriment and harm to the United States. What do you think, Marianne?
Wow. I love a lot of what you said. What really sticks out to me are, the oil, getting the oil from other places instead of here. Why not here? And the prices are insane. And then you look at where they wanted to raise the minimum wage. Well, it doesn't really matter now because the cost of everything has gone up. So it's almost like it does cancel each other out. And then letting people into the country, on the border, and they're all about testing for COVID, but they don't test them. And like you said, these people that are criminals in gangs, very dangerous. Just seems like it's being destroyed piece by piece. I really feel like America is being destroyed with these things.
Sure. Jeff?
My opinion, I think there's a leak and that the foundation is weak and they have not built it back up, and it just keeps being a domino effect.
Yeah.
I think it's just not with Biden. It's been previous offices, people in office that have started, and we allowed it. We let that come in. We let people come in, which have weakened the United States foundation of who we are. And we're not trying to, we're trying to rebuild off of what has already become a leak. And we need to just build a stronger foundation and let it go, because I feel like the foundation is weak. So everything is just happening. It's happening because it's so much going on. And they're trying to focus on the agenda of the COVID. They're trying to focus on trying to help with the war. All this stuff is going on, but there's a leak that actually the foundation that was set for the United States has been compromised. That's the word. And it's just unfortunate. And they don't want to tell the people that, but to me, when you look around, you see everything that's going on. The people just like, okay, nothing that is coming forth benefits me, or anything that you're saying is working. So I feel like the people are just at a place where they want to take control of what they feel like is right for them and moving forward. So my opinion is, I just think it's a leak.
Have you seen Kamala Harris in her interviews lately, or her comments she's made? She's just as incoherent as Joe is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, are we being punked here as the American people? Where's the camera? Because they're playing a big joke on all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go down to the local grocery store and find someone who's more qualified than she is.
Yeah, I think it's more going on than they're telling us.
Oh, yeah.
And it is, I don't know. I feel like they're putting up they're putting up about face, but it's really bad. And they're trying to fix it, but they don't really know how to fix. They don't have a problem solution.
Well, I mean, look, in 1964 with the Civil Rights Act, and in 63 when Martin Luther King went to the mall and he did the largest civil rights march in the history of the United States. And his, I guess, crux of the whole entire speech, or his afternoon, was, we want to be accepted for the content of our character, not the color of our skin. When, little white boys and little white girls can hold hands and be in unison with one another in America. And then here we are now in 2021, 22, and they're telling us, no, you need to be recognized for the color of your skin. That is the absolute opposite of what was instilled from, Reverend.
Okay.
Do you not agree with me? Do you think that we should look at somebody and say, well, she's not very smart, but at least she's black and she's got a vagina?
Yeah.
He's not very smart, but he's black and he's bisexual. Who cares?
Yeah.
If I'm going to go in for surgery, do I look up at my doctor and say, hold on a second? Did you get here because you deserve to be here? You studied here to be the best? Or are you here because of the color of your skin or your nationality or what? I want the best operating on me. And I'm sure you guys do too. Why should we not demand the same for somebody who's running and controlling America? Should we not ask for the best?
That should be the focus. It should be whoever should be in office should be the person that it shouldn't be a color thing. It should be somebody that's best to lead us in the way that we should be going. And that's how, to me, that's how I was raised. My mom raised us. She said, it's not a color thing. It's just, if you feel like they're leading you and they're leading you in the wrong direction, then you need to pull back and separate, and you don't need to be a part of it. And I've lived my life that way. If I feel like I get caught up in something and I feel like it's not working for me, or I feel like it's something that does not fit me, it's no harm against that person. That's what they believe, and that's their opinion. I don't rebuttal with them. I just separate myself from that. It makes it easier, instead of me trying to make them believe what I believe and them trying to make me believe what they believe. We all have our opinions, and that it should stand at that and keep it moving and continue having the love there, regardless if you're around them or not, still loving them in spite of. It's just not your fit. But that's not how the world, revolves. Everybody's not like that. The world is about control and being empowered and being in a position where you're empowered. So you treat people like chess on a board, and you move them according to the way you feel. And to me, that's not right. It's not you having compassion and say, does this really work for everybody, or is this just working for who I think it worked for? But when you think about a global or a bigger picture, then you find this problem to the solution. The solution is always there. It's just how you perceive it, how you come about saying what you're trying to say. So that's my opinion on it.
Right. I mean, I was brought up the same way. I was brought up to think that, we are all equal in the eyes of the Lord, and that doesn't matter what color your skin is, that your soul is wrapped in, that we're all brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And I grew up on the dirt roads of Alabama, and we had some white neighbors and we had some black neighbors, but we all played together, and we never were. I mean, I was born the day before the largest march, the civil rights. I was born on August the 27th, the day before Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. And I always thought that energy that was in the air was inhaled through my lungs as an infant, and that it's always been a part of who I am. And for people to now take and try so much to divide this nation on the basis of race is so deplorable, for lack of a better word. It is so disgusting, because we've come so far for equality in this country, that for the Black community, the Latin community, or the gay community to allow the Democrats to use us as a pawn in their ploy of their voting bloc for them to amass power, and for members of these minority communities to allow it is what's even worse. And it's like, on some radio show the other day, the host asked Kamala Harris, well, tell us about what's going on. What is this war all about? And she was so patronizing. She said, well, Russia, and this is a Black host, and she says she's patronizing him like he's an idiot. Well, Russia, it's a big country. And next to that big country is a smaller country. And that smaller country is called Ukraine. I mean, if anybody was to ever stop and talk to me and say, well, would you not feel like, hey, I'm not a 5-year-old. You don't have to talk to me this way. But that's how they think about certain minority groups. They think that they are idiots. In fact, they bet on you being an idiot. They bet on me being an idiot. And they bet on the gay community thinking all the same way. And that's why you see these things like Brexit Candace Owens popping up, the Walkaway campaign, the Pink Plantation, all these different things where these organizations and these groups are saying, no more. We're not going to buy into your narrative and let us be a pawn in your big plot or your play, because you're not going to use us anymore. Because they do. Every 4 years, they'll start trying to whoop up tension in certain minority groups and say, all right, see, you're oppressed. White supremacy, oh, you're gay, so they're trying to, hold you back. No, if that was the case, they'd be boycotting Saudi Arabia, where they throw people off the rooftops, just for being gay. So it's just, to me, for people not to see it and understand it is sort of shocking. I think open your eyes and wake up and see why do you allow yourself to be played? And I hope with everything in my being that every Democrat that is up for re-election this November gets voted out of office. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm a strong, hardcore Republican, but I tell you what, I really don't want the Democrats in power of anything, not even dog catcher. Sorry. Go ahead, Marianne.
Oh no, I mean, I understand. You don't want somebody with those weaknesses in power. I completely understand. And me personally, I'm not a strong Democrat. I'm not a strong Republican. I vote for who I feel is the best candidate. My husband and I both do. But the things that have been going on lately, it just one catastrophe after another, and it's just getting worse. And I hate seeing it. And something's going to have to change. Something is going to have to change. And I agree with you, Jeff. There's a weak link somewhere. There definitely is.
I don't feel like it's a unity there, but I want to piggyback off of what James said. I think, me personally, me being who I am and me and being called out as a spiritual leader is what I've learned. All of us have issues. I think those issues are there for a reason, to humble us so that we can love our brothers and sisters in spite of. But, people, when you speak on the word pride is just, you know that you have things going on, but you puff yourself up to think that you're better than, and you try to make yourself seem like you don't have an issue. Everybody has issues. I think it was designed for that, so that we can love each other in spite of. And I feel like if it was, people were more honest with who they are and what they deal with, whatever the scenario, and come forth even as leaders and speak their truth, people would accept them for what they are. And I think it would be a better nation. I think it would be a better leadership. But people get up and they think because they're in those positions that, they don't want people to see their vulnerability of who they are, and it missed the mark. But a great leader is someone that really is genuine and speak truth on their own self and where they are, so that those things that they have went through in their life, they can empower somebody else to be greater. Their expense of the downfall that they have and they overcame, that they can pull somebody up so that they can, not have to go through those same things that they went through, the struggles or whatever the scenario
exactly.
is. I feel like that's what we need to do. We need to love our brothers and sisters, take the color out of it, and love them in spite of. If you see your brother in front of you have fallen, be compassionate enough to pick them up and not walk past them and be like, I don't like them because of their color. To me, that's just crazy. It makes you a better person, and then people see you in a whole different light. So I feel like that's where we're lacking it. I feel like that's where the link. I think it's a power struggle. I don't think we come together with the wisdom and knowledge that we have and take color out of it. Let's come together as a whole group and figure out what is the problem to solution and move forward. Because I feel like if you really sit down and you really want to solve the problem can be solved.
Jeff, let me ask you a question. When you're standing in the line at the grocery store and someone looks at you, do you want them to look at you as a man, or do you want them to look at you as a Black man?
I want them to look at me as just an individual, a person, and get to know me and not just judge me on what
just talking about just subconsciously, just looking at you. You want their mind to go ding, 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 white man, green man, or white man, Asian man, Black man. Is that, or do you just want people just to look at you as that's a man, that's a woman, or whatever?
Yeah. That's a man. That's a woman.
Because the thing is it's really reverting this nation back to an era that was not a very proud moment in our nation's history. I think that if I don't want anybody to look at me and go, oh, that's a gay or whatever, because I mean, people are constantly judging subconsciously anyway. So I just don't want someone who is in a leadership position to be telling us that we have to look at you differently or her differently or me differently because of certain things that are about us that are out of our control. You have no control of being Black. I have no control of being gay. She has no control of being a woman. You can present yourself as something different, but at the core, who you are is who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, that's why I just find this whole messaging from the Democrats to be so detrimental and so destructive to this nation, because some of my best friends happen to be people who are Black, and they are just as sick of it as I am.
Yeah.
And it does not bring anyone together. It is a divisive tool that they use to try and gain power. And on that, I think that's going to end our show.
Yeah, you got to pick your mama up too.
I got to pick mama up. Anything y'all want to add to it? Because I rambled on the whole time.
No, you did great.
Good. I really enjoyed myself. I'm glad we talked and we expressed how we feel. It was good.
I know. Well, you know me. I can just, once you pull my chain, I was.
No, you did it.
Okay. On that closing note, follow the money. Keep your eye on what's going on. Don't listen to mainstream media because they're always going to lead you down the wrong road. And do your own research. And until next Friday, boys and girls, I'm James, Elaine Lancaster from Miami, Florida, saying I love you. Stay free. Geoffrey, anything you want to say in closing?
I'm good. Just like I always say, my ending mark is I love all of y'all.
And we love you back. Marianne?
Yes, we do. I love everybody too. And I just hope everybody has a great weekend.
You too.
Follow us on social media. We're on all the social media outlets, FNL Network. Love and peace and stay free. Bye, everybody.
See you.